Hi everybody. So we're covering off observations in family daycare. So we've talked about the types of observations that you can be taking. We've covered off anecdotal records, we've covered off artwork creations, we've covered off photos, recordings, those sorts of things, progress notes, and now we're doing running records. So running records, and you may or may not need them in family daycare because the smaller grouping helps you really, I suppose. It's a little bit easier, I suppose, to keep an eye on children and those sorts of things. But running records are really useful, particularly you can use them in conjunction with your other records when you reflect on anything. So they really are used to identify something in a child that you just can't quite put your finger on. So you might find that you have a child who I don't know, has like an emotional outburst at certain periods of the day or those sorts of things. So, and you're kind of like, well, I really don't, there's nothing wrong. Like they're fine. I'm not kind of sure what that is. And then maybe a week or so later, you see that kind of behavior again, and a week or so later, but you can't kind of get to the bottom of what that is. Sometimes by running records, you can take, and they go for any time. So they go for anywhere 10 to 20 minutes. Look, but hey, you can do them as long as you like, but generally speaking around that 10-minute mark. But you document everything that you see that child do in that minute. So it's a running record. So you know how earlier on, if you watch the anecdotal video, I say in the anecdotal video, it's like what you end up writing becomes a snapshot of the child. A running record, what you end up writing becomes like a small video of a child. So there's a lot more detail. There's as much detail as you can get in this. And a running record will have, you know, like a legend, so to speak. So instead of saying the child used his left hand, you would just do left. If you were talking, you know, that he was putting a puzzle together with his left, you would say, yes, he went up or he went down. So do your own little legend so that you're not writing words, so that you can capture as much information as you can. You know, if the child that you're doing the running record on should happen to go and engage with other children, then you might do like a group, and you might put JS, JP, and JT were in that group. So then we know that that's where he's gone. So he's finished a 6-piece puzzle with his left hand. Then he moved up to the other part of the house and he played with the group, and they were doing, and what was spoken about, what was said, how was he sitting. And sometimes with running records, they're really good. You can go back and find out potentially what triggers were if you can. They're often really good at identifying. So you might find that this child has an emotional outburst when they're feeling suffocated or, you know, too many people around them. So they might be in an activity where there's either people standing on top of them, a lot of, you know, that can make anybody uncomfortable, not even a child. If you're the adult and they're sitting on the floor doing something and you're talking over them like that, it could be something like that. It could be this child doesn't particularly like group times. It could be this child doesn't really like sensory. And because they don't often have the language or the communication skills, or sometimes it could even be a self-esteem issue that they're not prepared to say, excuse me, educator, can you please not do that? Or excuse me, child, can you please stand back? Or excuse me, oh, I feel like I just need a little bit of air. So they don't have those skills to tell you that. So often that's where we'll see things presented in behaviours. So it's a really good strategy if you've got a child who you think at times maybe isn't coping with certain things, or you're unsure as to, you know, what's going on, or you've done all your other checklists and those sorts of things, and you know what, I really haven't seen this child do X, Y, and Z. So you then would set up the environment. So you're creating that environment as the third teacher. And then you let that child obviously explore that environment, and you observe that child whilst that child's in that environment, so that you can capture the information that you need in order to determine that child's developmental stage or status or progression or whatever that may be. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense. So we'll keep moving through the others, and I'll see you in there. All right, we'll talk soon. Now, don't forget, I will always put links in here. I'll gather some resources for you. I'll pop some links in here for you if you need to get in touch. Again, just a little link down the bottom. Don't forget to subscribe, because I'll do a whole range of these. And, you know, you can use this for your professional development. You can use it for best practice. You can use it just, you know, if you want to sit on the couch and, you know, get a different opinion even, whatever it is. So, yeah, I'll see you around. See ya. Bye.